Okay. So I guess we're going to get started here. Welcome to the projection mapping workshop. I'm Julian, I'm a PA.
And I'm James, I'm also a PA.
Yeah. So today, sorry, we can get the next slide real quick. We're just going to walk you through pretty much everything from setting up our projectors, understanding how, what projection mapping is, learning about the different types of equipment we have available here for you guys to all use, how to mount projectors to the grid, and what other projectors we may not use to mount, but you can still use in the space, and then how to use our software to sort of map out what you want to project and have fun, yeah. So what is projection mapping? Projection mapping is using projectors to project 2D images or animations in 3D spaces. So we use a software called MadMapper, which we're going to teach you how to use today, which allows us to sort of shape what we're projecting onto three-dimensional surfaces. Yeah. So projection mapping has like a number of uses. It can be used to project onto buildings and architecture, using MadMapper to perfectly lay out exactly what you're projecting onto. Yeah. It's also used for art installations. This on the right here is actually an ITP professor's work who projects these people into bottles for like narrative purposes. So it can be used in a lot of different ways. It's very interesting. It can also be used for like sort of installation and like in-person experiences. You can see these a lot in like art museums. If you come around during like finals week, there are a lot of different students who do similar stuff where you can walk around in spaces and yeah, be immersed. So getting started, I guess we can go next slide. Yeah. When you're first picking out a projector, the two sort of things that are really important is throw distance, which is the distance between the projector and what you're projecting onto, whether that be like a silk or a wall, and lumens, which is just a measurement or a unit to measure brightness. So depending on how bright and what kind of projector you have, you should determine what the best sort of distance to keep your projector away from your surface. So here's like a link. I'm sure you can access this online, but this is a website where you can input what projector you're using, and it'll tell you what sort of the best distance is to keep it, to install it. So different equipment that we provide here. We have four Optima projectors that you can check out. These hang from the grid, and these are these projectors right there. We'll walk you through in a minute how to mount those in particular. And the other projectors we have are these Epsons. We have 6 of these, but since these are much bigger, we have 4 that are already installed, 2 in these ballrooms. We have 1 right there and 1 right back there. And then 2 in the black box over there and 220 that room, which is like the equivalent of these 2 rooms put together. And we also have 2 available for checkout, but just since they're pretty large, you can set them up standing upright, but you can't install them onto the grid. So it depends what project you're using. These are more versatile, but have sort of less lumens, as you can see, so there's less depth, that sort of thing, or not depth, but detail. Yeah, and then anytime you check out a projector, always check out a projection cart with it. The projection cart is going to come with the software MadMapper installed on it already. And it'll have our MacBook and PC there where you can operate both of them off of. MadMapper isn't on any other computers that we have. Yeah, so this is some other stuff that we provide. We provide all the things to project onto, so our silks, our muslins, we have white and gray colored. Gray colored is better for enhancing image quality. Yeah. And then we have additional accessories, including HDMI extenders, these clamps which we use to actually attach the Epson to the grid, in addition to the tie line, which are basically just glorified shoelaces you use to actually attach like loose cables onto the grid up there, and HDMI extenders too, which we'll get into in a second here. So just some quick setup stuff. You'll go through this if you've been through safety training. So It may be a little bit redundant. But to set up these projectors, what you first best practice is to sort of have it set up on a table, and you want to attach that arm first. It's sort of like a trigger lock, so right when you line it up, it'll snap in place. And then you're going to want to click in this safety right here to make sure that it's all secure. After that, you can sort of pick it up and test if it's fully attached. And then you want to attach a safety cable on to make sure that you're going to attach to the grid in a second. Yeah. So when you go in, ideally you have 2 people and you want to set up a ladder to sort of go up and set it up. First thing you want to do is get like the main arm and attach that to the grid. And once that's sort of tightened up, you want to attach the safety cable you just put on, and just to make sure it's all secure. We'll do questions.
Sorry, other thing, but will we get this slides later?
Yeah.
Yeah, the slides are posted on our website, so if you check it out, there should be a tab with all the guides and slideshows that we've ever done.
Cool. Yeah, next slide. And so, to make sure that your projector is connected to whatever source, what your input is, there are 2 different ways to do it. Right now, we're using direct connection, which is just simply attaching an HDMI to the computer that we're using. And so we're going to use that as like a different source monitor. There's going to be one side that's display, one side that's source. You want the source to be coming from the place where where you have like your computer, where you have like the image that you're going to be displaying to the projector. That's what we're doing. Yeah, and then we're also going to be going and using, you can also use HDMI extenders, which we'll get into in a second here. So an HDMI extender is pretty much the same thing. It's using Ethernet to establish a connection for HDMI rather than just using direct HDMI. This can be better if you're going like long distances. You'll usually get some disruption if you're just doing like a direct connection like this. But if you're using Ethernet, it travels a lot better. So the way that we sort of use it, we have an HDMI extender, which you can maybe see over there, but it's these little sort of boxes. One is a transmitter and one is a receiver. Transmitter stays near your laptop and your receiver plugs into your projector up there onto the ceiling. Yeah, and so we're gonna get into like MadMapper here in a second, but this is just sort of the overall workflow. You're first gonna wanna set up your projector, specify what media output, so like attach your HDMI and make sure the viewports are all set up, which we're gonna walk you through in a second. Once you finish step 2, you move on and you can test your pattern in MadMapper. And then once you're in there, you can sort of adjust and just play around and then add controls and that sort of thing.
Okay, so when you set up your projectors and they're all ready to go, there's one last step that you need to do before we can actually start opening MadMapper. And so let's move to the computer. So as of now, we have connected our Optimum projector and our floor projector to this computer. Once we've done that, you open Settings and go to Displays. So here in the Displays window, you'll see all the extended displays that you're connected to. So currently, you can see there's display number 1, display number 2, and there's display number 3 and 4. For this workshop right now, I have duplicated 3 and 4 so that both the TV and my own computer screen will show the same screen. But typically, when you're doing this on your own time, you will have these other projector screens. And what you want to do is you want to click on it, and then over here, you want to make sure this is set to extend desktop to this display. And what that does is it makes this projector as an extended screen for your computer. So as you can see, I've done that for all of my displays already, for 1 and 2. If you're not sure on which display is which projector, you can always click this button called Identify, and it should show, oh, it's kind of hard to see on here, but it will show like a number on each screen telling you which number it is. And if you're having trouble with that, as you can see right here now, you can select the screen and then scroll down here to advanced display. And it should tell you the name of the projector that it's connected to. So the display 1 is the Epson, so I know number 1 is the Epson. And that would probably mean 2 is the Optima projector. Okay, so let's get started with MadMapper. So what is MadMapper? MadMapper is a software used for projection mapping. It is a very powerful tool that lets you manage your visuals, your projector outputs, and lets you arrange all of them. And it also gives you access to manipulate and play with the visuals a bit, which we will go into a bit. So when you first open MadMapper, let me open it. Okay, so I just opened MadMapper and you're hit with this interface. So we're gonna split it into 4 distinct zones as I have labeled over there. So first, number 1 is on the right side. This is the media panel. This is where all of your images, your textures, and your videos, anything that you're gonna be putting in your project, this will be here. Think of it as your library for your project. On the bottom of it, there is a properties panel on the media inspector. This lets you change the properties of the selected material you're using. So let's say I wanted to play with the test card. And now I have the test card open on the left, so you can see this checkered board. And I want to change the amount of divisions I want. So I can play around with the properties and change how it will look. Okay, so that's the media panel. Number 2 is the really big, obvious one. It's the view panel. It's what you see when you put these visuals in. As you can see, it's split into 2 separate panels. On the left, you can see the actual material. This panel shows the UV texture of the thing that you're trying to display. So basically, what this panel is used for is when you're trying to add a new asset or layer, you can choose what part of that material is actually being displayed and projected onto your anything or fabric. We will go more into that later, but for now, let's just keep moving on. On the right is your actual output preview. That's where you see all of your layers, your visuals, images, whatever. And that's basically how the arrangement of these things would look when you project onto the fabric. Okay, so number 3 is on our left. We have the project tabs panel. This is how you move between the different windows and tools of MadMapper. So right now, we're on the surfaces tab. As you can see here, there's a box highlighted here. This is basically the hierarchy of all your layers, objects, and things that you're going to be playing with. But there's other tabs here, like this light one, which is for DMX. This output one, which we will go into right after this. And this is how you set your outputs. But for now, let's just go back here. Okay, and the 4th and final tab is the tool panel, which is this window down here. This is how you set cues, scenes, and what these do is you can basically make multiple projects within your one project. So let's say I wanted to project a blue room, and then I want to have a red room next, and then a green room next. I can make 3 rooms in this one project and then have them transition between each other. So that's good for live performances or if you want a slideshow looking projection. But for this workshop, we won't be really going into that because we're just going to be doing basics for now. Okay. So before we actually do any projection, we have to set our outputs. So we have to tell MadMapper how we're going to be outputting and where we're going to be outputting our visuals. So let's go here on the top and click on this icon, which brings you to the output tab. And so as you can see, there's already a default video output 1 already here. Since today we're going to be using 2 projectors, one Optima and one Epson, we're going to be adding another output. So there's this button next to it. It looks like a projector of a plus sign. You're going to click that, and that makes another output. And these outputs are basically viewports here. You can move them around. But for now, I'm going to put them next to each other so it's more organized. Usually, you're going to want to rename all of these outputs to whatever you're projecting out of. So I'm going to make output number 1 be my Optima. So I'm going to name it Optima. And then my number 2 will be the Epson. So Optima is the white one. Epson is the black one. And once we've named them, you want to click on each one. So I'm going to click on Optima. And then on the left panel, you can see there's a tab that says Destination. That's where you designate which projector it will be coming out of. So I want this to go out of my Optima. I can click this and then open the list. And these are all the monitors that this computer is connected to. So there are 3 right now. Usually it's kind of hard to tell which one is which is why you can play around with it. I think this one is 1. Yeah, and then I'll change this one, the Epson, to, pretty sure Epson is number 2. You can sometimes guess which one is which by the resolution. As you can tell, the Epson is really big, and you can see the resolutions on the side. So number 2 has like 3000 resolution. That's probably the Epson. So I'm going to set that, and then, oh, this one is going to be set. I'll set to 3. Okay. So that's how you set your outputs to the output viewports. And once we've done that, we can start testing our projections. So to test our projections, we're going to use a test pattern. This comes pre-built into MadMapper. So we're going to click this setting icon, this gear icon. And we're going to go here, and it says test pattern. There's a checkoff box. I'm going to check that. And what that does is it prints this test image onto each viewport. And so since each viewport has a test pattern now, we can go to output, and then full screen mode, and then click OK, and it should start projecting. Okay, so now you can just double check everything. So we have this correct. Epson is for the Epson, Optima, Optima. So now we see that the projections are working and they're the correct ones. We're good to go. So I'm going to, whenever you're in full screen mode, and you want to get out, all you need to do is click Control-T, and that gets out of it. Okay, so for now I'm going to turn off the test pattern, and I'm going to go back in here. Okay, so once we've done the test pattern, how do we actually start putting our visuals in to make our projection? Okay, so every object in MadMapper consists of a material, an video, whatever you want to put in your project, and a shape. So the material is where you would get from this library here, this panel, the media panel. So as you can see, MadMapper already comes with a bunch of default materials. There's a color pattern, a test card, there's a bunch of these cool moving materials. So these are the things that you can use to put in your projection. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a new object. And to do that, you go on the side and you see a bunch of these shapes. And you just click the shape that you want your object to be. So I wanna make a rectangle. Is it? Oh, there is a little fall off. No? Okay. More. Second? Okay. So I want to make a rectangle or a square. And when I click it, you can see there's this like blue outline box around the material. And that's saying, that's basically the capacity of this box on the material. So remember how it said on the left side, this view is to look at the UV map of the material. What you do here is essentially you choose what part of that image you want to be projected on. So let's say, I don't know, the box is too big, too many tiles. I want to shrink it down so it shows only 4 tiles. So what I would do is I would drag one of these corners and it lets you scale it down. So I would drag it to show only 4 tiles. So as you can see, I'm basically scaling down the quad, the rectangle I've just made, to only show the 4 tiles of this entire image. And so now that I've done that, as you can see on the right, only 4 tiles have been shown. And that's how you UV map. You get an image, you choose what part of that image you want to be shown, and you just scale it down or change your grid so that it only has that part. Okay, so once you have this output on the right, you can start playing with the actual shape itself. So let's say I'm gonna output it, full screen mode. Okay. Okay. So right now it's in the, where is it in? It's on the Epson right now. As you can see, it's really big and really blurry, and I want it to scale down a bit. So what I can do here is I can play with these corners of the object, and I can deform it. And so as you can see, while I'm deforming it on the computer here, it deforms in real life too. And this is basically how you get your objects to fit and match your real life canvases. So let's say I wanted it to fit on the table. I would drag it so it would go over the table, and then I would just try to fit it on the table. Kind of bad at this, but no? It's fine. Okay, that's just a quick demo on how you deform your objects in this viewport space. Okay, next. So as we just did, what I did essentially was I was surface mapping. I was conforming the object perspective to fit it onto the actual physical 3D surface in real life. And so this is basically the essence of projection mapping. It's you putting these visuals from your digital device and then mapping it to fit the real world 3D shape of whatever you want to map onto. So that's what we're going to be doing today, basically. Yeah, so that's how you put in objects and visuals. There are some other things that we can go into for now. So as I said, MadMapper is a really powerful tool. It has a lot of versatile things that you can do. And one of these things is masking. So as you can see, it's kind of hard to get this shape to fit exactly on the table. What you can do is you can use a mask, and that basically cuts off a part of the texture or the object and show only the selected parts that you want. So there are 2 ways to put a mask. One way is you can go over here on the left and click on this mask looking thing. Click on it. And now you can see the cursor has turned into this plus sign, and it lets you kind of draw around. And so this is basically letting you freeform draw the mask that you want. And if I right click, it sets it to an actual shape. And now if I cover it, you can see the light has been kind of disappearing and being covered. So this is good for if you want to mask multiple layers. So this mask will affect all layers underneath it. If you want to just do one layer, you can click on the object, and then under here, there's a mask option. And you can choose what shape you want. I can add a quad, and I can place it in. And now you can see one of the boxes has been masked off. You can also invert the mask so that only that part that the box is covering is shown. And so yeah, that's what masks are for. Another thing you can do is feathering. So as you can see, the edges here are really harsh. And sometimes you have surfaces that aren't as rigid, or the edges aren't that sharp. What you can do is you go into the bottom left here, it says feathering, and you can increase it. And what that does is it smoothens out and damps out the edges, so the transition to the texture is much easier, and it kind of soothes in. Okay, one last thing I want to talk about is the perspective. So as you saw before, I was playing with these corners, blah, blah, blah. You can change it into these weird shapes. But sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you just want straight-owed, rigid rectangles, and you kind of find it hard to like get it that way if you're just moving these like individually. And so what you can do is you can go over here to the left. It says perspective, and it's turned on already. You can turn that off, and what that does is it turns off the perspective view of the object, and when you transform it, it will stay as a rectangle. So it's much easier to move if you need that. Yeah, so those are a few things you can do to your objects in MadMapper. Oh, one last thing. So I talked about how I arranged my output viewports so that they're next to each other. So on my Optimas on the left, this whole rectangle is what's showing on my Optima. This right triangle is what's showing on my Epson. So as you can tell, when you go back to your Surfaces tab to play around with your visuals, those two boxes also appear here. What you can do here is you can also slide in and out between your outputs. And that makes it a lot easier when you're moving things around, arranging. So yeah. Any questions? No? Okay. So those are just the basics of MadMapper. There's a lot more things you could do. You can do mesh warping onto 3D surfaces. That's when you actually bring in a 3D model, and that will allow you to warp these objects to match the 3D in real time. You can add controls, cues, and scenes like I talked about before on the tool panel, and that lets you transition between different projects in live time. You can also do DMX mapping, MadLaser, and there are so many more things that I cannot cover in this 1 hour. But yeah, that's for you to explore, and feel free to find tutorials online and get through whatever you need for your project. So we have a quick demo that we're gonna show.
I was just saying, if you're in like a theater or performance space, is there a way to like calculate the dimensions of everything and like bring that into MadMapper?
Like you want like calculate the dimensions. You can't really do that in Mad. I mean, you would have to get the calculations of that space first, and then based on that, you would position your projectors so that it fits every space. And then through MadMapper, you would kind of like project onto it, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Like, do you want the points of the space in MadMapper? Like, you want it?
A little bit, yeah. Kind of like what is on the screen up there, where it's like, okay, I know I have a 5 by whatever screen here, and I'm this distance away.
So to my knowledge, it would be something that you do like day of, where you like figure it out. And MadMapper is built pretty much to just like resize everything. It'd be a little tedious, but yeah, it's a good question though.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my question was like similar, and so is there's no way to like set up the scene somewhere, like to simulate how it would look in real life?
Yeah, because I'm trying to imagine like you have like an ideal space, and like let's say you're like working at home or something, and you want to map it out before you come into the space. Yeah, I don't, because
can you really do that? I mean, worst case scenario, you build out a 3D model of the space and then import it into here and then map onto there. But MadMapper isn't really like built for 3D. It's like, okay, this is more of like an extra thing. It's not built for like mapping straight onto like a stage or anything.
It's like meant a lot more for like kind of what we're doing here, where it's like 2D and you sort of have your stuff set up. Ideally, you get your projector set up perfectly where it like maps onto it, but if not, you can adjust your viewport to make sure that it sort of like comes on here accurately. Yeah, I mean, what you guys are saying is very possible, like, but you know, that's definitely like pushing the software a little bit. There are plenty of other ways you can, and other softwares like this that you can use. Like MadMapper is just like one of many. I know some people use like Touch Designer to be more specific. I don't know that software very well, but yeah. Yeah, sorry.
So basically, the 3D model here is really just for. The 3D model here is really just for like 2D displaying, and then we wouldn't be able to basically do the reverse like engineering, which is like having an idea of the display first and then having a model in there. Do you get what I'm saying? Like modeling, like let's say you don't have this at home, like the pyramids,
Yeah.
and you create a 3D model. It wouldn't be to scale in there. Like you couldn't test it
exactly.
out. So you can't use this for testing. It's more so just displaying a 3D model.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So like, this is kind of a difficult, because we don't know what this looks like in
Yeah.
the space at all. Like this person's kind of just mapping out what it's like, and even this is still 2D, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But like, you know, they're not navigating a 3D space like it's Unreal Engine or something like that. It is all 2D. So I think hopefully that clarifies things a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's more like pseudo 3D. It's more of like an aid. Like if you do have a 3D object, it will allow you to like practice on how the UV would map onto that 3D object.
Because it's all flat.
Yeah.
I mean, you're projecting 2D. So it's like, if we're projecting straight down like here, like I mentioned earlier, like there's shadows and stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
So like, you're not gonna be able to like shape the light like that a little bit.
Question?
I mean, what would happen if you had like multiple projectors on like a single object?
That's a fun question. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I'm sure you could do something, but I don't
It
think
would.
MadMapper is, because it's literally like view extent. It's like you have viewports set up.
Oh, like you want to layer like multiple projectors on each other?
maybe, yeah.
I mean, what
I
you
think I would guess because like most interactive exhibits are on the walls, like 4 projectors facing each wall, that it's like the more things you have overlapping and the more people, the more interference you're going to get, and the less the like illusion is maintained. So
Yeah, because that would be something like you would probably have you'd have multiple different scenes open, operating, and they wouldn't all be connected, right? They would be individual
Right.
things that you're probably projecting different sides of the same thing to get the illusion of depth. So you can't like, I don't know. You want to jump in with that?
Yeah,
Or
it's I don't know. It's more of a light thing. I don't know how it would work exactly if you were to like project multiple. It might overshadow or it might combine depending on like how powerful the light is and like what colors and like transparencies you're using.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Did that answer your question?
No, it did. It was interesting. We're just hypotheticals.
Yeah, because I guess just what maybe would be a helpful way to imagine this is these are literal, it's like, think of these as like a screen share or something like that. These are literal monitors. It's not like we're bringing this into a 3D space and like, you know, it's not volumetric. I don't know if that's a good way to put it.
It's flat.
It's flat.
It's all an illusion, guys. It's all an illusion.
No, it is an illusion.
Let's do a quick demo. I know Halloween passed already, but let's do some silly stuff. Are any of you familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's? Yeah? Five Nights at Freddy's? No? Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick projection demo that I prepared. Let's see if this works. So for the floor, I'm gonna use a grid. So I'm gonna just cover the entire floor with this grid. And then we're gonna use the Muslim, and I'm gonna just import a photo. And where is it? Oh, it's somewhere. Wait a minute. Where'd it go? No. Do you see it, Julian? I lost the thing. Oh, there it is. Where'd it go? Oh. Yeah. Grab it back here. Okay, so if you wanted to like input any of your own images, all you need to do is you can just go to, oh my god, your file explorer and then just legit drag it in. Where'd it go? Is it that one? Oh, is this one? Okay. And I'm gonna do perspective so it's easier. And I'm going to, I'm also gonna add this birthday hat back in.
A lot easier, like we just have so many different, like we're streaming over there, so we have
Mm.
5 viewports. That's where it gets.
Yeah. So let's say you have an image here and you want to get it to fit the fabric. It won't be perfect because physics and how the light would reflect back onto the fabric. So that's where the corners come in, and you can adjust it to fit the fabric. Just get it to, and this is how it gets. And then for the party hats, I'm gonna go put it on the floor. Now I want a triangle. So I'm gonna make a triangle, and then I'm gonna shape it to the hat. So by doing this, I'm basically mapping only the hat part onto the triangle, and so I'm getting rid of any of the white background of it. So I map just the hat, and then on my output preview, I'm going to try to map it onto the prisms. So we put it here. Then Julian, you gotta help me with this. I can't see. Warmer. Yeah, so when you're doing projects like these, you should probably bring a friend to help you because it's really hard to like tell every angle from the room. And so when you're surface mapping, you should get someone to help you with how close everything should be. More. Yay, now we got a birthday hat. Now let's put more. Oh damn, jump scare. Very, very fitting for this. Okay. So this is just a really bad and basic thing of how you can transform a room using projection mapping. Let's say if I wanted to do a pop-up for this game. I would do something using projection mapping to map onto the entire environment and change it into something that's on theme, which is basically what this is for. Of course, if you're doing it for a project or like an actual corporate event, you want to make this look nice, not like what I did. But this is basically the essence and everything about projection mapping that you need to get started. So, any final questions? No? Okay, next slide. Yeah. Okay, so we have a few final notes before you start using projection mapping in our spaces. First, you have to take the Media Commons safety training. That's how you get access to the rooms here. Pretty sure most or all of you already have taken that. Secondly, when you're working in our rooms, you should bring a USB or external drive to save your work. Our computers will wipe on every weekend, so you will lose all your work if you don't save it. So yeah, and we have all of these equipment supplied by us, so you don't need to buy your own projector or get your own fabric, but you are welcome to bring your own things. We just won't be reliable for them. And then, of course, have a plan of how you're gonna install and how long it will take before your reservation. So I'm gonna be honest, like doing this will take a lot more time than you expect with setting up. Like this took us an hour or more to set up, just doing all of this. So I would recommend you to overshoot your reservation time so you have extra time to troubleshoot or fix anything you need. And then finally, you should always bring a friend to help if possible. These things are really gruesome and cumbersome to take down yourself, and you gotta play with the ladders and do all of the surface mapping yourself. It's just gonna be really annoying. So that's that. That's our workshop. Oh,
I have a suggestion for people. If anyone is familiar with the performer Sasha Velour from Drag Race, okay, look her up. She is like a Broadway performer. Sasha Velour, Velour, and she has done a lot of work over the past several years with projection mapping, and I have like specific examples, but she does these shows. She used to do them at National Sawdust, where it would be like a lip sync number that had a video component. And it's very cool, and she had a big show called Smoke and Mirrors that had a whole bunch of like, you know, visual trickery, but it's probably a very good example. Like it would be that is most likely something like MadMapper, where it's like a very static, planned performance, and something I would just guess like a immersive exhibit or like a museum might lean more towards the touch.
Yeah, exactly.
One, yeah, that's just my impression. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.